this is the second time attempting to record this video because the first one fucked up, right? And so now I'm doing this one. So basically this is my wish list for Mortal Kombat 12. I don't know, obviously this is my wish list, it's not a fucking guarantee. But ultimately this is what I would absolutely have happen in a Mortal Kombat game. And we can sort of piggyback a little bit off these supposed leaks. We know that the game was not showed at the Game Awards. We've also had Ed Boon come out and tweet about what he actually sort of has said in regards to, you know, the fans and expecting this game, and the fact that it's, you know, it can't be talked or shown just yet for varied reasons, which sounds really cryptic because it sounds like there's more going on. Did NetherRealm actually get sold off and bought by another company? Is that the reason why they can't announce anything yet? I don't know. But this is my wish list for MK12. I talked about this on my main channel, but I'm doing it here. And I think I got rid of that video because I wanted to be on my fighting game channel. By the way, thanks everyone for subscribing. I really do appreciate it. It's a ball. I love having a fighting game focused channel. If there's any fighting games you want me to cover or look at, leave a comment. I'll give you a shout out, or submit either the article or a request in the submit article or request section on the Discord, and I'd be happy to help you out and give you a shout out for doing that, because I love sort of seeing new stuff and I might have missed something, and I want to also include you guys in the process, because, you know, I wouldn't be able to talk about it if you guys hadn't shown me. So now basically my request, oh sorry, my wish list, my main wish list for MK12 is to have a massive roster. Okay, I always find, because MK is my favorite fighting game, I always find that I get to a point where I just want to have every MK character in the game. Now MK9 didn't have every MK character, but MK9 was basically Mortal Kombat Trilogy minus, you know, Chameleon, right, and a couple of extras. Okay, MK9 was pretty much perfect, right? It was absolutely perfect. And I did a video on my channel, go check it out, where there's actual mods that you can download and mod the PC version of MK9, so it actually makes it like absolutely perfect. It adds in all the extra skins that were added to the PS Vita version and whatnot. So I would have every single Mortal Kombat character in the MK12 version. Now if the leaks are true, we're not going to be getting that. We're going to be missing out a substantial amount of characters from the 3D era of MK Deadly Alliance Deception and Armageddon, which is a real shame. But then again, some of those could be DLC characters as well, so we may not know. Now I did do a video covering the fact I forgot one character that I forgot to add in there, and that was Chronica, but who gives a fuck about that idiot, right? But ultimately it's about what, 49 characters total from MK9 through to MK11. That is the total number of characters, and if the leaks are true, that's a pretty massive list, and that's nearly 50 characters for the game, not including, I'm assuming, any DLC characters. But I would like to see some characters come back from the 3D era. I've already made some thoughts on that. Characters like Havoc, characters like Reiko, Serena, I'd absolutely love to see come back. But massive roster to me is really important, okay? Now, as far as things like the graphics go, I actually like the graphic style of this. I know that the newer games are a lot more realistic and whatnot, but there's a part of me that does like that slight cartoony feel of an MK game. And I think that's why I always come back to MK9, even over games like MK10 and 11. MK10 and 11 started really getting into the whole gore porn aspect. They wanted to have all this massive amounts of detail, you know, on their characters and whatnot, with dismemberments and destruction and you know, impalements and whatnot for the characters. And the fact that part of the NetherRealm team got PTSD simply from fucking researching how to create those fatalities, I think is a pretty big indication that maybe you shouldn't do that. What I would like to see return are fatalities in the way that brutalities are done in MKX and MK11. The brutalities in those games actually feel like classic Mortal Kombat fatalities because they're quick. There's no massive slowdown and move in and whatnot like they're doing with this stupid cinematic style that they're doing for the current fatalities. I want the speed, I want the brutality back of those actual brutalities, but in the fatality model. I want brutalities in the game, but I want brutalities to come back to the way they were introduced in Mortal Kombat Trilogy. In MK Trilogy, brutalities were like the Killer Instinct version of the Ultra Combo. Imagine having your ass beat by someone online and they do a brutality and you know that they have memorized like a 20 button string to be able to actually pull off that brutality. And in that brutality, you can make it so that you're actually like ripping limbs off and smashing half their face off and stuff like that. But do it fast. Do it actually fast, like so it feels like it is brutal. When you slow it down and stuff, it's boring. Nobody does that shit, especially when they're playing online. Stuff takes too long with those fatalities that you've got in the game right now. Scale it back. Quick, fast, brutal, shocking. But it doesn't have to be shocking like, oh, I see an eyeball. Oh, I see their heart like pumping and then splitting in two like right up close. We don't need to have that detail. I'm not squeamish, but I don't want Mortal Kombat becoming a horror game. I want Mortal Kombat to feel like this mystic Asian martial art tournament, right? And I think that's kind of been lost in the newer versions. You've gone too much in trying to go for shock value and sticking to what made the game so great in the first place, which is this martial art tournament, you know, people fighting hand to hand, you know, and I was saying that in the voice of Kano in the Mortal Kombat movie, hand to hand, you know, that's what I miss, right? And so with the fatality system, that's what I'd like to see return. Now, adding on top of that, we'll get to the X-rays and we'll get to the fatal blows and the crushing blows and shit. With the fatality system, if you want to go the step further, I think they should bring back custom fatalities. From Mortal Kombat Armageddon, I thought it was absolutely incredible. Okay, actually two things. The Harakiri, although maybe people might be a little bit too sensitive about doing that, but that was a great addition in terms of what they did in Mortal Kombat Deception. Getting there before they could kill you, I thought that was pretty cool actually. And again, it was a great concept. The fatality system, you could make custom fatalities like what we had in Mortal Kombat Armageddon. There is a massive pool of moves that you can do to a person, and they already worked out the strings all the way back in MK Armageddon. Just make a 2.0 version of it, but with an extra addition. Make sure that every single character has a couple of their own unique strings that are only exclusive to that character that they can add in there as part of the custom fatality. For example, Scorpion would be the only character that can take his mask off and burn them, right? Or do something like create like a hell portal, or I don't know what, like have a couple of actual like exclusive strings for each character as part of the general pool of custom fatality moves. I think that would be fantastic. I think it'd be awesome, really good. You know, that way, you know, people, if they want to do a quick fatality, they can do a quick fatality. They want to do a nice big long string, do it. Look at Armageddon, you've already got the blueprint there, do that. Now, talking about the fatal blows system, which is absolute shit too, because again, it's like tied into the health bar and not what they had like in MK9. In MK9, I actually thought that was the best system that they had in place, right? I'd make a couple of changes and we'll get to that. Firstly, what I'd like to see is them go back to that 3-bar system, forget the defensive and offensive meter, get back to the 3-bar system, and each bar you can use however you want. If you want to use one of your bars to break a combo, you can. MK9, they made it 2 bars, that's too much. Alright, considering how broken some of the fucking combos are, in even as much as I love MK9, there's a lot of broken shit in MK9 when it comes to the combos, right? So that's what I do. Just bring back 3-tier system, like other fighting games do. And when you get to a maximum, you can then do your X-ray move. The X-ray move, you can slow it down a little bit like an MK9, but make it quick. Make it character specific, make it feel like it matters to that character, like it's part of what that character might do, you know, lean into the fantasy of that, but make it quick. All right, even online, the fatal blows are taking too long and they feel like a cheap shot, right? If you use up that, if you wait and you fill up your entire super meter and you miss that opportunity, that's it. You've missed it for that round, okay? Unless you can build it back up, okay? In fatal blows, if you miss, then, oh well, it just sort of, you know, comes back in a little bit and that kind of feels a little bit cheap. The crushing blows thing, again, just feels like crap. It's that whole glass draw thing. I remember in MK2, you know, sometimes if you timed an uppercut, you'd actually, if you did a standing high punch, you would do the same amount as an uppercut, and we called it the glass jaw. That's basically what crushing blows are. They're glass jaws. They're just like this stupid amount of damage, and I get the whole sort of like cinematic feel part of it and, you know, whatnot, but again, it just feels like a gimmick. Get rid of it. It's crap. Now, the other thing too I would do is move away from this heavy focus on weapons. You're watching MK9 playing right now on the screen, yes? There is no heavy focus on weapons. Some characters do have weapons as part of their arsenal, like Striker, like Cabal, but we don't need to have them as the forefront of every single thing that they do, which leads into the gear system. Get rid of the fucking gear system. It's shit. This, along with the huge amounts of RNG in the game, just make people play the game and give it an artificial sense of playing it for a long period of time, when in actuality it's only because people are trying to get the pieces they want and they simply just don't show up. And then enticing them with fucking crystals to buy it off the store is scummy. Get back to just basic outfits. I don't want to customize fucking Scorpion's mask. I don't give a shit. I don't want to see fucking purple Sub-Zeros and pink Scorpions. It's crap. Alright? Just give us outfits for our characters that are suitable for that, you know, for the fantasy of the character. You did it in MK9, you did it in MK10, and those outfits stand out to me more than anything I have ever seen in MK11. Right? What I would like to see, which other fighting games have done, especially games like Soul Calibur 6 and previous versions of it, and you actually did it in MK Armageddon, is to the ability to create your own character. You've got all the tools in place with, technically, all the pieces of gear. So take that gear system, take it off the main characters, and put it into a custom character. Allow us, in that instance, to choose our special moves. Forget this choosing special moves bullshit for the actual characters in the game. Fuck that shit right off. It's crap. It's garbage. No one fucking likes it. I didn't even like the system that you had with the styles in MK10. It's just crap. It feels like for me, all I want to do is just choose my character, and I want to master that character. I don't want to master that character in this version, that version, and that version. Give me all the tools, give me all the moves, and let me have fun. Just let us have fun. Stop trying to get us to, oh, choose this or choose this. No, it's crap. It's a fucking fighting game, not an RPG. But take those systems and funnel it all into a create a character section, right? So you create your own custom character. You can, you know, go through every single piece. You can customize how a weapon might look. If you want to give them a weapon, customize everything from their boots, to their shin pads, to their pants, to their belt, to their shirt, to their jacket, to their arm guards and gloves, and all sorts of stuff. Go mental. And then allow us to choose, you know, our actual special moves. Take the system that you had in MK Armageddon, right? It was a great system. There were restrictions in how many special moves you can choose, but at least you could do it. And you could base your character's fighting style off an already established character. You go, oh, okay, well, I want my character to sort of have the same combo systems, or maybe you can go, I want my character to have the same stance as Scorpion, but I want the combos of Sub-Zero. That would be fucking cool. That would be awesome. And then that way, the fantasy of every character that's in the game, the actual characters, isn't molested with pink versions and purple versions of bullshit and all this stupid customization that is crap, including the augments, which is absolute garbage. Get rid of that fucking shit. It's a waste of time. No one gives a shit about trying to increase their health to do crap. No one gives a fuck. It's boring. Right? No one cares. Things like the ideas of the living towers and stuff, yeah, I kind of dig that. But what I would like to see is the ability for, you know, you and other players to jump online and take on a boss at the same time. I think that'd be fucking cool. I don't think they had that system quite in place in MKX. I think you just fought, didn't you just fight a boss and that contribution went towards what other people were doing, but you weren't on the screen at the same time? I reckon have like up to 4 people fighting a boss character. And you could pull from a whole massive list of boss characters in this game, right? Like, it's just crazy. Now, going back to the characters, it's pretty obvious we're not going to get some of the... if the rumors are true, and I have a feeling they probably are, they're only going to be pulling the characters from MK9 to MK11, which is about 50 characters, like I already said. However, I really think I would have loved to have seen the inclusion of some of the, you know, the Armageddon characters that would be missing, and there's a massive amount missing. There's a massive amount of missing characters that probably won't ever show up in a modern MK game. And that's a real shame. I've got my favorites, but I'd love to see, you know, I'd love to see that come back. Now, going back, again, you know, I'm jumping all over the place a little bit, my apologies, to the gameplay system, right? We talked about the fatalities and changing them. We've talked about getting rid of the crushing blows and you know, sort of like making the X-rays a bit better. I'd like it in the defensive meter to make it so that, you know, like 1 bar is to break a combo, so you have the chance to break combos every time you get one of those bars up. I think that would be great. There's not enough defensive meters. Get rid of this, the wake-up system you have in MK11. It's shit. I know it's esporty, but just no one gives a fuck about esport, alright? No one cares, right? In MK9, you made it, and MK10, you made it so that if you did your special move fast enough, it was a wake-up attack. Do that. It's awesome. Keep the enhanced moves in there, but make sure that when you enhance the special move, it is enhanced, right? Don't just make an extra powerful Sub-Zero freeze ball. You know, make it so it's got like, you know, it might fly out in 2 different directions or something like that and look really fucking cool. That's what I'd love to see. That would be awesome. That'd be really fucking awesome. In fact, if you wanted to go the extra mile, you can make, you know, the first bar might throw out 2 harpoons for Scorpion, right? The second bar, if you use 2, right, might throw out, you know, like, I don't know, like twisting ones, or I don't know, something like that. You could go really crazy. Again, if that part is not overly pertinent, but that's what I'd like to see. Now, the gameplay. And this is the important part, because this is the shit that pisses me off. And as much as I love MK9, there were a lot of problems with its combo system. Now, there was mention in the leaks about bringing back a run system. Now, I don't know if that simply means just you dashing in or dashing back, but what I'd like to see is the actual run meter come back from MK Trilogy days, and Ultimate MK3 and MK3. Why? Because the run meter kept your combos in check, okay? There was a ceiling, like maximum damage coming in with MK4. The combos are out of control, dude. Like, and if you're watching this, Boone, and the team in MK, the fucking combos are stupid. I've been held up in the corner, right, by fucking someone who's sitting there doing these little punches. That's shit. And because you don't have, because your defensive meter, when you use it, you know, chews up a lot of the time 2 of the bars, then you're just fucked. You know, it's 2 of the bars when you're doing like an aerial defensive move, 1 bar if you're from the ground, but if you're in the air, like, it's crap. Make it so that if they have you pushed into a corner, they can't keep you in the corner. Like the old MK games, have it so that they push you back out. Make it so that the run meter restricts their fucking combo amount of damage. Make it, like I was saying, so that we can break a combo. If we've got enough bars, we could break a combo, like up to 3 combos, if we had a full meter. Bang, bang, bang. Right? That's better than the system that you got in place. And the actual important part, and this is the part that really matters the most, make it so that you actually have to be touching the fucking player. In MK3 Ultimate Trilogy, you had to physically touch the player, even if they were blocking. You could still do your combo, even if they're blocking, but you had to physically touch the player. You couldn't just start your combo, you know, from not like without even touching them, like shadow boxing, right? Make it so that they have to, it forces them to get in close, forces them to engage physically, right? Too much it feels that the combo side of thing has become the focus of MK in recent iterations of the game, and not the special move side of it and the scrapping. I grew up in Mortal Kombat from the very first one, and I scrap. I fight people all the fucking time, be it in MK9, MK10, MK11. And these people find the most broken character at the time. They learn the biggest 10-hit string or whatever, or 20-hit string, whatever the fuck they have now. And that's all they do is they spam. But I'm a scrapper. Psychologically, I love fucking fighting. I love fighting games. And I love to psychologically mess with people. Right? And they can't fight their way out of it because all they learn is, oh, I need to learn the combo. If you scale Mortal Kombat back to being more how it used to be, then we will get more scrappers. It'll make the fights a hell of a lot more interesting because that way people are trying to outsmart the other person by, you know, having a whole host of what they have available to them. It's too easy now for people just to find a broken combo, sit there and just dial it in. And just dial it in. And because they don't even need to touch the person, what they originally call the dialing combos back from the MK3 days, you actually have to, you know, you don't even have to touch the player. Right? So there's no consequence. The hitboxes are shit. The amount of vacuumous moves in this game, and I'll explain what that means. It means that when you might punch, and you might even be hitting the tippy tip of the tippy toe of your opponent, you will suck them in and give you full access to the entirety of the damage that you can deal upon them. It's crap. You have no idea how frustrating it is to feel that. And you know what? I never feel that in any other fighting game. Not in Tekken, not in Street Fighter, not in King of Fighters, not in Samurai Showdown, not in Soul Calibur. I never feel like I have literally, you know, when my character's been out of, you know, even if they touch like my toe, I don't feel like my entire character is now completely sucked in to the whim of whatever combo that they decide to do. You need to reevaluate the hitboxes. You need to reevaluate the combo system and get back to basics, because that stuff frustrates people and it's getting worse. It's getting worse, right? And as much, like I said, as much as I love MK9, that's where it started. Right? Now, you had that shit obviously you had that combo system in the 3D games. I never played those 3D games online, right? And when I do play the game offline, I just do my special moves, maybe a couple of combos. But we need to move away from this massive focus on combos and more to, you know, just more sort of like smaller strings, you know, make sure those strings have to touch the player and give us the freedom to be able to work around that. What can we do? What juggles can we do, right? Stage fatalities. Every single stage in Mortal Kombat needs to have a stage fatality. Fucking get rid of this shit where you jump from stuff and leap over people. It's not a superhero game. That shit came in Injustice. It's crap in Mortal Kombat. You don't see it in MK9. You don't see it in previous MK games because it's shit. Right? Get rid of the interactability. I think that's just made up a word. Of throwing like a fucking grandma. Right? Or some flaming pot at someone. Get rid of that shit. Okay? What I'd like to see, apart from stage fatalities for every single game, every single arena, is the death traps. Right? Not only, and you know what? Not just death traps, but multi-layers to stages. Right? Imagine on the stage right now, which is the nighttime, you know, of the courtyard. Right? They like, unless I got that fucking name, it is late and I'm having a stroke right now. Right? Imagine like, you know, you knock them and you go through the floor into the underground area where the glow is coming up through the dragon symbol. Right? Imagine you could actually, like, there was an interactive part on the screen, kind of like what we've got right now with Injustice, but instead of like throwing them into like something in the background, when you throw them into the background, that background is actually another part of the stage, another fighting area, and then they follow you. Just look at what you did in the MK3D era games. Perfect. Kick them through a wall. Kick them down the side of a building, right? Some of those arenas, like in Deception, where you're on top of like that, you know, like that stone pillar that shakes every now and then and pieces fall off, so the arena gets smaller and smaller. Where the fuck is that innovation? That makes it feel dangerous. That makes it feel like we're fighting in the world, in the realms of Mortal Kombat. Bring back all that, right? This pissant oh, we gotta, you know, like, make it esporty and shit like that. No, you need to get back to what made Mortal Kombat really set itself apart. It wasn't just fucking fatalities. It was the mysticism. It was, you know, and I really believe this, especially Mortal Kombat for me, a stage or an arena has just as much personality as a character. Look at this stage right now with the living forest. You got the bodies hanging in the background, some of them moving. You got the guy on the ground tied up in the trees at a hard night on the liquor, right? And I remember, like, I was talking to Joe the other day about MK and how he was saying that, like, he always wondered about whether or not there was some form of interactivity with the trees. And then they made the trees an actual stage fatality. You actually have a massive blueprint of games, of Mortal Kombat games in the past that you can look to and go, this really worked. Take the 3D era arenas and try and work it into a 2D space, right? Make it so that rather than instantly killing them at the side of a stage or something like that, that they had to break a wall a couple of times by kicking somebody into it. We see breakages happen in Street Fighter when you kick them and they go into like parts on the stage and they break the barrels and stuff. So you take that and you make it so that, okay, this wall here will instantly kill someone if the wall doesn't exist anymore. And if I knock them into that wall a couple of times, it's going to start breaking. On the third hit, it'll break. And then that's free to knock somebody into it. Same with the interactivity forward and back, right? You get close, you know, you press one of the shoulder buttons to interact with the background, but that background has a breakable part or a part where you can throw them into another stage. Easy. Like fucking easy, right? Now, as far as like secrets go, I don't care so much about the secrets. I guess in this day and age, you know, secrets don't really last long anyway, and you know, it may be more so like, see, the crypt in MK11 I actually like. I actually like the idea of the MK11 crypt. But what I would love to see return is something like MK Deception's storyline. Because the fucking story in Deception, you know, going into the world as a 3D character, going through all the different realms, that's what I'd love to see in the crypt, right? As part of that. Now, no RNG. We find shit in there that we want to find. And it's up to you as the developers to make it interesting. Make it so that you go online with other people. And there'd be like a Mortal Kombat character you all got to hunt down together and fight. You know? So rather than go, oh yeah, we're going to go reset the chests and find pieces of shit and hopefully we'll get it. Now fuck that shit. Reptile event. Find Reptile in the Nether Realm. Right? And you have a nice big area. You know, all bits and pieces of however you make up the Nether Realm, you know, region. And you got to work together and solve puzzles, and then as an end boss fight, kind of like in an MMO, you go through a dungeon and you find Reptile, and then you all fight him, right? And you could fight him in a 2D setting where it sort of pans to the side, and then it's both of you or however many of you against that character. That'd be really fucking cool, right? That'd be really, really fucking cool. As far as the story goes, I hate the MK11 story. I hate the MKX story. I thought the MK9 story was perfect. It gave a huge amount of respect to the original storyline without fucking it up and simply sidestepping it and moving in its own direction. From MK10 onwards, it just felt like shit. It just felt so cheesy and so crap. I really felt like there was this absolute just... Listen, when I saw Jax's arms being ripped off by Ermac, that blew me away. I can't think of a single fucking thing in the story of MK10 and 11 that makes me sit there and go, oh wow, that was amazing. No, I can't think of a single thing. Can't think of a single thing. Right? Nothing at all. And I think that's really telling. Right? And maybe it appeals to some people. But I think Mortal Kombat's story has moved away from the mysticism of what made it. Mortal Kombat, it's in the very name itself. It is the decision of the fate of a realm. Mortal Kombat. That needs to be the focus. MK2 was still Mortal Kombat, right? And after the invasion of Earthrealm with MK3, it was still Mortal Kombat, right? They still had to fight, okay? That's one of the things I actually liked about MK Armageddon's story, was the fact that because we're using like special moves and magic, it actually had an actual effect on this, on the sustainability and the fragility of the realm. And the fact that so many fighters, and now they're just getting more and more powerful, it was actually affecting, as it says in the intro, the fabric of the realms. And I thought that was amazing. I thought that was really cool. You're tying in the actual abilities of these characters, and they're actually being a detrimental effect, because where are they pulling their magic from? And probably one of the last things, stop fucking retconning characters. You know, the characters have existed longer than what they were in MK11, and retconning them to fit in with some woke Twitter bullshit is crap. Everyone can see it, everyone fucking hates it, it's not good, and you're only doing it to try and appease a bunch of people that probably won't buy your fucking game. It's crap, alright? There have always been strong female characters in Mortal Kombat. I don't need to know their sexuality. I don't need to find out Sub-Zero likes to wear a fucking dress at night when he goes home to his little fucking, you know, Lin Kuei dojo or whatever. I don't need to know that shit. But the retconning of some of these characters, right, like Sindel, like Nightwolf, you know, making Nightwolf just a mantle, I mean, that's disrespectful. Right, these characters have existed, and of course with the creation, of course, of other people that were part of Mortal Kombat, right? And retconning them just to fit in with like fucking woke politics, which nobody's gonna give a shit about in a few years' time, is crap. Costumes. The female costumes. Coming out and saying that this wouldn't be realistic in a fighting game. Are you fucking kidding me? It's Mortal Kombat. It's okay for the men to be half fucking naked, but the women, oh, it's a bad thing. It's okay for you to sexualize men, but women, it's a no-go. You do understand the hypocrisy of that, right? Like, it's just ridiculous. Nobody's sitting there looking at Katana in this like really skimpy outfit and going, gee whiz, she's so fucking hot, I better go rape someone. What sort of fucking stupidity is that? People don't do that, okay? Part of Mortal Kombat, of the fantasy of being a fighter and whatnot, is that a lot of women love the fantasy of having these ultra sexy characters that they can play as well. It's like when we play MMOs. Who wants to run around as ourselves? We want to run around as like this hyper masculine, you know, kick-ass male dude, or a sexy like femme fatale female. A lot of women love playing as sexy females online. And you're saying to them, no, sorry, you can't do that, ladies. I mean, isn't that a bit disrespectful to tell women what they can and cannot do in this day and age? You see my point, right? Nobody is going mental or crazy because you make your characters sexy. And the ridiculous argument saying that they wouldn't show up in a fight like that, in a fucking fictional storyline where there's thunder gods and ninjas on fire and people throwing fucking refrigerator fireballs out of their hands, makes absolutely no sense. You look dumb, right? And everyone again can see it, okay? I love Mortal Kombat, but I love it so much that I'm not going to sit here and suck the dick just because the dragon symbol's on the side of the box. I'm going to say it like it is. Because if you do those sorts of things, you get back to what making Mortal Kombat feel like an actual fantasy fighting game, and not feeling just like this wannabe esport try-hard game, you know, where you got to try and like appease people on Twitter and you know, have these ridiculous like gameplay and combo systems in there. You're going to get a lot of fans back. Because when you started changing things, and we saw the changes in MK10, when you started changing things, everyone noticed, everyone hated it, and what did you guys do? You know, make out like we were the terrible people. And yet more Mortal Kombat games have sold and have been far more popular and far more, you know, they live in a better, more positive state of mind and in memory and nostalgia for MK fans with the older games than the newer ones. Right? Stop listening to Twitter. Get back to your roots. Right? I don't care if you want to have the dudes all buff and shirtless, but you got to have it even Steven. It's ridiculous. And MK9, most people will recommend MK9 over 10 and over 11. Why? Because MK9 basically hit about 95% of everything that I've been talking out of the park. And obviously some of the stuff that I've mentioned obviously isn't in the game. They'd be wonderful extras for a sequel if they did a MK9 2.0, right? But I'll leave it there. I think I've covered everything. Oh, minigames. We'll talk about minigames a little bit. Again, look at your past. Mortal Kombat chess, puzzle combat, combat racing, or whatever it was fucking called. Bring those back. You could literally bring them back and just make them, you know, like obviously, you know, brand new versions. Bring them back. Like, you know, they'd be amazing. Like, absolutely amazing. Be awesome. And you could have, as an online feature, you could have a Mortal Kombat Royale, where you have a 4-on-4, you know, or whatever, or, you know, every man for themselves. Just dump them on a stage and they just beat the shit out of each other. Don't think it can be possible? Look at Mugen fighting games. In Mugen fighting games, you can have 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4. It works perfect. And that's a free fighting game that anyone can edit and program. And it would be amazing. Imagine that shit. Also, just as I'm seeing here, bring back actual damage to the characters. We know why you moved away from character damage models in MK10 and 11. Because you didn't want to have to model things like underboob. Like, you know, the girls like losing part of their, you know, their top or something like that. And they're looking too sexy. Bring it back. It makes it feel like Mortal Kombat. It feels like as the fight is progressing, you're actually doing damage to them. So even if you win at the end, half your face is falling off and you look like shit. I mean, that's cool. And that's really, like, that is really, really cool. So I'll leave it there. I think that's it. I think that's everything I can think of when it comes to what I would want in an MK wish list. Let me know what you guys would want in Mortal Kombat 12. And I will catch you guys next time. See you later.